pop out chat and everything else on screen because it's easier to read on a bigger font on the screen. And then we can, oh, fuck's sake, YouTube wants to verify me again like it sometimes does, and I can't do that because I'm on a stream. So 1 minute, we'll see if it's possible. It's broken again where it's doing this thing where it's meant to do it like every certain time browser cookies get refreshed, but now it's been doing it to me sometimes several times a day. So live control room, and then I can get the pop out chat on if people are on. And I'll just put the thing on to stop spammers, so 1 second with that. Hello as well. But yeah, let me just finish setting this up, because like I said, annoyingly, I wish I could just save my preferences once and then not have to constantly change them to the same settings every time I start a stream. So today, we'll probably talk about what's going on in the UK currently, because in the UK, at least, that's mostly what everyone's talking about, how fucked this country is, in lack of a better word. The video I did on that as well got way more views than the normal videos I do. So again, I think a lot of the politics stuff is what a lot of people are more interested in at the moment. I think basically every bit of sort of mainstream, even quite mainstream media stuff I look at the moment says about, you know, how people think there's going to be more rioting and stuff like that coming quite soon. Maybe terrorism, that sort of stuff. Again, I don't want to get my stream shut down by saying things YouTube doesn't like, but that's the reality of what's probably going to happen. And as well as all that sort of shit, the government as well has done a, I think it was another stupid thing recently. That was, oh yeah, it was that despite them raising taxes on us, they fucked off with all that money, so now we have to pay even more taxes. That was it. If you haven't seen, I did do a video on it, Bungie Boy. It's pretty hard to explain in the stream, in the thing, but it's, again, mostly that the government is allowing in illegal immigrants that then go and commit serious crimes, and forcing the people that live in this country, like me and everyone else, who work and pay taxes, to basically pay for these people to be put in nice accommodation that, like, you know, homeless people in this country wouldn't get that sort of stuff. And then those people, again, like I was saying, go and commit serious crimes, and, you know, the government isn't dealing with it, and it's just getting worse and worse. Yeah, that's, and it's getting to the point now where if you speak to even regular people, it will come up in conversation quite often. Again, like I said, I'm being very careful here not to say I'm trying to, you know, not to say I want there to be violence or anything else. So I don't want to do anything that sounds like incitement. But there's a lot of people where if you're just talking to them normally now, they say we should just shoot these people or whatever else. So I think we're getting to the point where things here are just fucked. Because the government, where they've basically, because every single time, I think in the last 10, 20 years, there's been stuff on, like, you know, parties like, if you vote for us, we'll lower the amount of immigration and deal with illegal immigration. Then it just gets worse with every government. And then the current Labour government's doing the gaslighting of normal people type thing where, you know, even when stuff is going on, they're trying to cover up the crimes, and then tell you don't believe your lying eyes, don't believe your lying ears, everything is fine. It's better than it ever was. So that's that. Oh yeah, and the Online Safety Act. So, you know, what was meant to be to protect children from adult content on the internet is now turned into let's use it to censor people we don't like online. So other political parties other than Keir Starmer's Labour Party aren't the, you know. So anyway, I'll let people come into the chat if people are coming, and we can talk about it, because it's actually more interesting to talk about at the moment for than a lot of the surplus stuff. Because I imagine a lot of the surplus that's going to be selling out at the moment with people is like riot armor and shit like that. Because of, yeah, just what, you know, like I said, I have to be very careful not to sound like I'm inciting anything. But yeah, it's most people are expecting trouble at this point. Like I said, we had riots last year, but everything's gotten worse since then, not better. And the government, again, lied during the period those riots were on to try and cover stuff up. And then after the riots had all died down, it came out that the government hadn't told people the truth at the time regarding that. So anyway, I'll wait for some people to come on. I was doing some more stuff on my body armor earlier, as well as doing that med kit thing I attached to it earlier. I've now got a haversack mollied onto it with a gas mask in and spare filter. So that body armor has tools on it. It has obviously the plates and armor in it. It's got the camelback with the regular drinking thing and the gas mask linked to it. It's got my C50 on that now. Right, Rajiv? So yeah, that body armor, if shit does kick off in any way, and like I said, I'm not inciting any violence, but if I needed literal armor with, like, you know, a gas mask or any eventualities, I've got that there ready to go now. So yeah, rather than having a bug out rucksack, I've got the bug out armor, if you like. Probably ought to put a helmet next to it wherever I store it, so I've got, you know, one of my helmets ready to go next to it as well. But yeah, so that's that. There's a couple of cool things that are normal stuff I'll be doing videos on, but at the moment it's that typical thing where some of the stuff that I've ordered, you know, I'm just waiting for whatever day the, you know, post or whichever couriers deliver it. Because there's some stuff I want to get around to doing videos on, but today I had to film videos on stuff for me that wasn't as interesting as, I need to leave some eBay feedback because a couple of my items did arrive today. So those ones arrived. And which one was the other one that arrived? That arrived. That arrived today. Another thing, I just want to track it because I'm hoping it's coming tomorrow. Now, let me just check the tracking number, then I'll go to the chat again properly. But I just want to see where. Yeah, so today it's partway through the Royal Mail thing, which means I should be able to sign for my big expensive parcel tomorrow that I'm looking forward to. For some reason, where I tried to do a load of eBay feedbacks, it said errors. This one's worked. Oh yeah, that arrived as well. An old retro battery, but it's a rechargeable one. Yeah, I haven't used our gas mask, like I said, in ages, because the problem is with nearly every Reddit thing like that, it's because people are desperate for upvotes on Reddit, generally, as a rule, is why you get all that weird, like, factionalism on Reddit and, like, certain posts that try and get certain amount of thumbs up. Even in, like, stuff I really like certain games I'm a massive fan of, I just find the Reddits piss me off to no degree. Because there's either people that come on them that say stuff that's untrue and then other people upvote them and agree with them, even if it's something you can categorically, like a game test, you know, if it's stuff to do like hitboxes or damage, that sort of stuff. Or it's, you know, where lots of Reddits turn into that shit where people pick sides and then it always turns into flame wars once again. Reddit is one of those things where I like the fact Reddit exists as a website, but it's one of those things that I kind of find is, you know, the problem is a lot of subreddits, unless it's just ones that you go on for pictures and videos kind of subreddits, you know, and not to read any of the comments. Often I find Reddit is just a bit shit in terms of, you know, like I said, where it just kind of turns into like a weird Wild West. Yeah, like the funny thing is, as bad as somewhere like 4chan might be for just people arguing with each other, because other than the fact people can like put a trick code in, and again, you can just have an app that automatically hides every post by done with people with trick code, because it's designed for anonymous posting stuff like with 4chan. You don't get people trying to big themselves up on it and constantly get upvotes for content. Yeah, Discord again is quite cool because you can have obviously Discords for like subjects you're interested to. Some of them you can gatekeep a bit more about who gets into them and who doesn't. I Oh, fuck's sake, this is the third time in a row now, I was going to say. Where I've copied and pasted something and it keeps... Right, let's try again. Control C. It's just because when I leave feedback for items that, you know, came as advertised, I normally just do the, you know, like a kind of thank you, fast dispatch, good seller kind of thing. I copy and paste in unless it was something very specific to do with the item. Oh, yeah, one of these just says we ran into a problem. Oh, well, I'll leave them feedback, another thing. I probably do not. I will Google what radio that is, but I think the answer to that is already going to be no, because I don't recognise the numbers. No, I don't have that. So, I mean, I've got modern radios, like this sort of thing. But you're on about licenses for radios, are you, or specific wave bands? So I don't know, because I like having a radio that you can turn on and listen to stuff, like, you know, random chatter, but like military style radios, but I'm not into radios as in knowing about frequencies. Ah, yeah, isn't Overwatch 2 where they got everybody's copy of Overwatch 1, turned it into Overwatch 2 so you can't play Overwatch 1 anymore, and then added more microtransactions or whatever it was? Is Matthew, are you on about C&V what for radios? As I've said before, Jamie, my favourite one out of all the ones I've got in terms of it's comfortable and, you know, it's fairly good. The only thing I dislike with it is the fact it's got a really awkward zip to do up at the back, because whoever designed the zip was clearly like the person that did the worst, you know, design bit on the suit. Is a Remploy one. I think, is it the Remploy Britannia? I can't remember the exact name of the suit, but it's made by Remploy. And it's like one of those kind of dry suit style NBC suits that's comfortable and reusable. It's not like a one-time use one. But a few people have said, like, put some paracord in it or whatever else. But yeah, the problem is it's got like a zipper with a little tag on it at the back so you can pull it along a bit easier. But again, it's still, you're at the wrong angle how they've done the zipper. So when you're trying to pull it from this angle, you're pulling it upwards, not along. No, not a rent boy suit. No, a Remploy suit. Yeah, no. But yeah, I think it's one of those things. If you put paracord on it and then had a coat hanger handy, you could probably reach across and do it. But yeah, to be honest, it's one of those zips where I reckon if they'd have put the zip about there on the back to about, you know, your neckline, you could do it up with one hand and then switch to your other hand and it would be fine. But because it's across the shoulders, it has that, like I say, really annoying thing where you can't pull it like in that direction. You'd think you'd be able to with your hands, but because you're always pulling at a slight angle, you almost need always somebody else to zip you up in it, where they can just grip it from the back and, like, you know, zip directly in a straight line. Or they could have done a diagonal zip, and that would have probably been fine. But yeah, I just don't like... Yeah, right, Bill, we were complaining about the UK government at the start of the stream, which is what I'll probably carry on doing. But yeah, so apparently the latest bit of great news is that everybody's taxes are going up because, you know, the government can't spend your money responsibly. It's basically like, oh yeah, you know how we made loads of people lose their jobs by putting up all the taxes on £22 billion black hole, because they've spaffed that money up on the wall on, you know, I guess all these illegal asylum hotels and shit like that, and just policies they've tried that didn't work, but we don't get the money back when they essentially just burn your money trying policies that don't work. Guess what? We're gonna have to pay more. So the poverty in this country is just, we're in a doom spiral basically. You've got a government that can't spend money responsibly, and then they're also you know, like I said, doing something I think is evil, where they're finding some of the worst people, you know, in the world and saying, tell you what, the taxpayers can pay for your accommodation. We won't supervise you, so while you're just sitting around in a 4-star hotel claiming benefits, if you want to go out and diddle kids and murder people and rob people, why not? The taxpayer's paying for it. I've not really seen much of Jorg stuff, or however his name's pronounced, in years. I used to watch him when he did purely slingshot content, but is this like an air gun or something? Like I said, I've not really watched his content in ages, because I know he got more into like selling stuff, didn't he, rather than just doing slingshot videos. So yeah, I've not really watched his stuff in quite a while, in all honesty. I liked his videos when they were just really about slingshots and other kind of like crossbow slingshotty things. But oh, is that Americans fleeing Trump or what? I did see though that speaking about London and other places, Rajiv, have you seen that lots of foreign countries now warn tourists not to come to the UK? I think Mexico's done it weirdly as one of them. So as much as we think of Mexico as cartel land, um, yeah, we've got the weird thing where like the Mexican government is going, no, senor, no go holiday to UK. You'll get stabbed. You'll get robbed. That doesn't surprise me, no, rather. Okay, that's probably sadly not UK legal, I'd imagine, Bill. You know, like I was saying, because our laws are quite restrictive. If it's an air gun that shoots needle things at any decent power, that's not going to be allowed. If it sticks, yeah, if that's going to be above 6 foot-pounds, it's not going to be UK legal, sadly. Are they decent Americans, Rajiv, or are they the very annoying kind of Americans? Yeah, but apparently, JJ, it's more of a thing now where countries that never used to warn about travel to the UK now are warning more and more about you probably don't want to go here, or, you know, making it much more, you know, don't go out at certain times, all this. Because, funny enough, when I went to a lot of Eastern Europe, you don't get warned about that. You get warned about pickpockets, and that's about it. Well, World War II Mark V General Service Respirator, you can ask. If I know the answer, I can answer. If not, I won't know the answer for you. But yeah, I'll ask away. And let's hope YouTube doesn't hide what your comment is, because if it's regarding asbestos, YouTube normally censors the comments. Let me convert joules to foot-pounds. 7.5 joules to foot-pounds. That's actually under 6 foot-pounds, but I bet that wouldn't be UK legal. I'll have to look into that, but that's the sort of thing where I bet the government says this is specifically designed for hurting people, we're banning it. Or if they've not done that yet, you'll be the unlucky bastard that spends loads of money on it, and then as soon as you get it, they'll decide it's not legal anymore. There's no buyback. Just you have to hand it in or else, or they won't mention the fact they're making it illegal very much, and then they'll randomly go, we can get you for that. 5 years, sunshine. But yeah, Bill, the answer is anyway, when you're asking me all these things, no, I don't really know anything about it. So yeah, that's really all I can say. I've not looked into it. I can't say much, but there's a lot of stuff now over here, like I said, where personally, I think why spend money on that if the government might just decide overnight you can't own it anymore? When I went to Germany, it was quite nice, Chris. I actually weirdly like Berlin more than Bavaria, which is normally the opposite. When I go to places, I normally like the more rural places more, but I actually thought Berlin was pretty good when I was there. So, see what? There's holes in the stockinette. What do you just mean there's holes in the hose? I mean, yeah, you could just take the filter off of the hose, and that will be fine. What we did with one of the old ones I haven't done this with the current one, is take the filter directly off from the hose and then just put the filter in an airtight bag. Yeah, at least in the States, Bill, you're not going to have, you know, if you're allowed to own lots of guns, I know it will vary state by state. I doubt they're going to give two shits about, you know, air gun restrictions. But over here, like I said, air guns are something they get quite anal about, where, you know, they have to be very in specific power levels. And the main problem with a lot of the UK stuff with air guns is it's you, the owner, that gets done, not the shop. So if you get sold an air gun that's over the legal power limit, as far as I'm aware, the shop doesn't get in trouble for that, but you can instantly get a firearms, you know, like you're smuggling a firearm kind of charge on it, because, you know, the government's like, oh, you must have modified it, even though there's been, you know, occasions in the past where shops have been selling ones over the limit and they've, you know, got away with it. So what's that, Roger? It will stop X amount of votes. So Yeah, we have the ECHR. There's probably other ones we've signed up to, but the European Court of Human Rights one is the main issue, because that was set up right after World War II to prevent something like the Holocaust happening again. And then, unfortunately, it's now being used to, rather than stopping, actual proper persecution, it's being used by lawyers, of, I'd say, ill repute, like Starmer's mate, Lord Hermer, or whatever he's called, the Chagos one, of, oh, this violates the ECHR, I'll get money for you. It's like one of those, have you had an accident at work things, but are you a rapist and a paedophile? I'll get you off the hook kind of thing. But like I said, the main problem, Rajiv, in my opinion, of a lot of this is that, yes, we've got lots of shit where there's incentives, because while the government still keeps looking after people better that come in illegally, there's a fucking incentive behind that. Because even if they think they're kicked out after a few years, if they could come to the UK for a few years, essentially be put up in a 4-star hotel, have their food paid for, they get like a certain amount of credit on a mobile per week, don't they, and all that. This is assuming they don't even go out and then commit crimes or work illegally or anything like that. Even if they're kicked out after 4 or 5 years, they've had 5 years of rent-free living, food paid for, accommodation paid for, all this. So yeah, well, until we get tough on people, the government, there's always going to be an incentive for people to come here. And yeah, like you're saying, all this shit about, oh, that's actually a crime, but it's not a crime because the people who committed the crime are on our side. Wink, wink. I don't know what you mean by will it affect you, zombie villager. If you've not been breathing through the filter, it shouldn't affect you at all. Which one, Chris? The one where just a shell ejecting from it, or what? That's the one that most people have seen on my channel, weirdly, because I think it's got the most views out of any of my videos. Just with the martini action, just ejecting the shell in slow motion, even though, like I said, it isn't a very high-effort video, but YouTube being YouTube, the videos I spend the most amount of time making and editing get way less views than just something like that. I think, weirdly, one of the ones that got loads of views recently was just that flintlock in slow motion. And that wasn't even a flintlock with powder in it, like black powder and the flintlock mechanism making a nice big puff. It was just, just the flintlock essentially snapping closed. And in one of the shots, I filmed it in the dark so you can specifically see the sparks. But again, that took me, 20 seconds to film that. And that's got more views than a lot of my proper videos. So again, YouTube being YouTube. Yeah, Rajiv, this is the thing. Again, and it's the fucking gaslighting about it that really gets me, and I think is making so many people angry now. Where you get certain people that appear in certain media programs a lot, who tell you these people aren't committing crimes, and because Britain had an empire, it's our duty, blah, 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 to let these people in, whatever else. And it's like, no, most people now I speak to in real life, and again, I don't want to be inciting violence, again, because I'm doing this as a person doing a video in here. I'll be very careful what I say, but like I said, I've spoken to perfectly regular people, and then they just say, fucking shoot them, fucking kill them, for their attitude to a lot of these bogus asylum seekers. So you can see how angrier and angrier people are getting because of the facts that, like I said, it's funny, but it's not funny, because the government is basically, yeah, and they try and cover up those stats. It was like I said, the other week, in Warwickshire, wasn't it? Or it might have been a bit longer than a week ago, but this came out, that they tried to cover it up for community cohesion, that some Afghans they let in under the Afghan resettlement fucking scheme that, they hid from everybody and did that super injunction on. Those Afghans that came in on that went and raped a girl, 12-year-old girl, and they tried to strangle her as well. That was on the charges. So I don't know if they tried to strangle her to kill her, or that, just strangle her for a bit of fun. And that was covered up because, again, they knew people would get angry about it. So they covered it up, and then it comes out and people get even angrier because rather than saying, oh shit, this is serious, let's do something about it, it's just lie to everybody. Just lie to everybody. That will be all right. But like I said, more and more and more people now are getting quite, quite, what do you call it? like you think this is going to get nasty if something happens. That, you know, like a lot of people saying in a lot of these protests now and things like that, you're getting more and more people literally say, what do you want to call it? Like, you know, like more and more ordinary people that you'd think aren't even that interested in politics, definitely not far right, you know, just people that probably don't even bother voting every election, have gotten to the stage now where quite boring, normal-looking people are saying, let's just kill them. So yeah, we're getting to that stage where, because the governments, you know, past governments, I'll include the Tories in this, people keep constantly voting for less immigration, more serious, you know, like treatment of actual criminals, not what they keep doing of hurty words online, but, you know, are you a real criminal out to commit violence kind of thing? Because they're not doing anything about that. And then again, currently definitely with Labour, where it's, oh, everyone's a racist who's wanting, you know, this not to happen to innocent people. People are just getting angrier and angrier. And then they stop people protesting. Now, this is the thing, the other day, and this was even when I made this video, there were those protests outside that hotel in London that they were putting loads of the asylum seekers into. And the police have now banned the protest, apparently, for 28 days, even though they're not legally allowed to do that. They can only ban people from protesting, is it for 48 hours or something? Yeah, so what they've done, so they're now doing things that may or may not even be, I know we don't really have a constitution over here, but, you know, like stuff that they're not really even allowed to do. Yep, so they were saying you're banned for 28 days, you know, you'll be arrested if you come back, to a lot of the mums and that protesting outside. So yeah, they were doing that. And then later on, when they were getting like caught, you know, people into legal shit were basically saying they shouldn't even be allowed to do that. They were trying to reword how they did it. Yeah, like I said, Raymond, at the moment, yeah, it's exactly, it's, but like, it's again, the people keep saying it's because if you keep making legal, like, you know, what should be legal protest illegal, you're going to make whatever it is, revolution or violence, inevitable. There is a quote like that I'm misquoting. But it's that exact shit that people are at the moment trying to be peaceful and in any way they can protest what the government's doing. And then what the government's reaction to that is arrest those people, silence those people, call them Nazis, call them far right. And again, with the London hotel thing, if you noticed how always there's those hope not hate lot that always get bussed in to, you know, like be counter protesters and then always start the shit off. So, and oh yeah, because that was the one the other week, wasn't it, or 2 weeks ago, where outside of one of these hotels, the police were caught on camera, like escorting this lot in, and then they were going, oh, it's because everybody has a right to freedom of speech and expression and protest, even though clearly not everyone does, because they're shutting down certain protests they don't like. Yeah, Orwell was rolling in his grave so fast you could generate electricity off of him. But yeah, like I was saying to people, it's nice that foreigners, you know, around the world support us, because you do get nice messages from quite a lot of the world. And I think everybody's looking at this with popcorn now. But yeah, like I said, I am going to be very careful what I say, just because of the fact that, you know, and I'm going to personally make sure myself and my family are safe. But at the moment, like I said, and this is on a lot of media over here you watch as well, it isn't just like the BBC, the state media, these people goes, everyone knows this is going to get really ugly, because like I said, it's because they keep, you know, saying, oh, you can't protest, can't do this, all of the sex crimes against people over here keep happening, and then they're going to you know, it is going to get ugly. Oh yeah, what you mean, Rajiv, last year, the Manchester airport thing where that bloke broke the female officer's nose, but they didn't show any of that. The media only showed when the male police officer kicked the guy in the head afterwards. Oh, Joshua, the problem is it's not even porn, right? there's a lot of shit that I've been having issues with and my dad's been having issues with. And bear in mind, my dad doesn't use a smartphone. He doesn't like technology other than like a very basic desktop PC. Where my dad's been trying to just do online forms that, used to be able to do a load of these forms, with pen and paper and send off. Now they have to be done online, which he struggles with. And now they wanted him to do all the selfies and age verification for like renewing his car insurance or some bollocks. Yeah, like I said, I've got a VPN. My one, I'm not being sponsored. I know a lot of people are like, I'm not sponsored by NordVPN, but I recommend NordVPN. I've got a VPN built into my antivirus. So how that works is if I want to use the VPN, I just flick it on, select the country I want to use the internet from, and then, around everything. Charge you and find out what... Oh, and you're reminding me of something. The current thing they're doing, the online task force Labour's come up with as well. Yeah, I said I was in Switzerland the other week. Not that Switzerland for any particular reason, but, I pretend I was a very rich person from Switzerland. Hello, ik wanting to look at your porn. That's not even how Swiss people talk. That sounds like I was trying to do Dutch and German at the same time. Or like maybe some Scandinavian language. But yeah, it's... But yeah, I did Switzerland from the thing. But yeah, there's been a few other things that now I've seen on quite a lot of sites. They actually put a notice up that just say, sorry, you're in the UK because of how stupid this rule is. We're just blocking everyone from the UK. Hope you get a better government kind of message. Because again, for so many people around the world and like sites, they don't want the hassle of dealing with this. Oh, what does it show you on each thing? So if you set the VPN to a different country, most popular in your region or whatever. Yeah. The only one I think has said they want to get rid of it is Reform. I don't know what Corbyn actually thinks of it, because like I said, even though there's a lot of stuff I don't like on Corbyn's foreign policy stuff, I actually quite like Corbyn in the sense that Corbyn has always been a proper socialist, and he's not like somebody like Keir that's like, oh, I'm definitely a socialist. Oh, except now I'm in power. But anyway, what was the online task force? Let me get this up. Online task force, whatever it was, or the new police force. Right, news, and then let me... 1,000 Men and Me. Now, I'm not interested in Bonnie Blue. That's what I'm trying to look at. Let me search UK police force online, something or other in the news. Yeah, police. So from 1 week ago, police unit in England to monitor online signs of anti-migrant disorder. So yes. So what they're doing is, again, more tyranny against you for having the wrong opinions. So yeah, and I'll read out the quote that, like I said, that makes me a terrorist now. And if this makes me a terrorist, then I'm a terrorist. I'm quite happy to be a terrorist by this definition. Let me get up. 1 second. So this is the Useless Prevent program, where people like the Southport Killer and all those got picked up by the program. They said, no, I'm not going to hurt anybody. And they said, they're all right, tick them off the list. And then they immediately went on to commit terrorist acts. This has happened quite a lot of times. But Prevent, let me read it out. So this, I'm going to quote exactly from the government internal thing. We define extreme right-wing terrorism as the active or vocal support of ideologies that advocate discrimination or violence against minority groups. The three most common subcategories of extreme right-wing terrorist ideologies and their narratives are, right, ready for it? Because the first part sounded sensible, but the next bit's not going to be sensible. This is the bit I'm going to fall into. Cultural nationalism. Western culture is under threat from mass migration and a lack of integration by certain ethnic and cultural groups. There we go. I'm a right-wing terrorist. There we go. We're all far right now. We're all far right now. So, yeah, there you go. I'm up there with Adolf or whatever, apparently, because, wow, I'm concerned that some of the people coming into this country aren't very nice people. Oh, you've got concerns about that, you fucking Nazi. So I was saying the problem is most of the time I don't talk about politics because I try and get along with as many people as possible. And a lot of the time when I go online and watch videos, I don't want politics coming into it, right? Because this is the thing I hate when you're just randomly watching like an actor or whatever, and then they, you think they're a very good actor, but they'll randomly go off on a political tangent. Sometimes you agree with them, sometimes you don't. But you're like, people like you as an actor because they like you acting in films. They don't give a shit about your politics. But like most people in the UK, I think it's getting to the point where every sensible, normal fucking person is getting to the stage where we're just saying, no, this isn't right. And yeah, like I said, I've heard far, far worse things from people I know in real life that are very moderate, normal people, and they're saying stuff like now, like, just fucking kill the people that come in on boats. And like I said, this is what the government's done. They are literally, because they are making it impossible to deal with stuff in a sensible, way of, I will vote for a party that will sort this problem out, because they all say they will stop illegal immigration and whatever, and then they don't. It always gets worse on worse numbers-wise year on year. It's gotten to the stage where I think just everybody that is a normal, regular person has just got to the breaking point. And like I said, and this is the government's fault. Like I said, I'm not advocating any violence. I want to make that really obvious. I'm not planning on going out and boogalooing anyone. But what I am saying is, if you start speaking to middle-aged women, and that's the first thing that pops out about their, pops out their mouth regarding this, it's shown you that everything's fucking failed because they've tried to cover so much shit up and stop you talking about it that people now, again, it's Rudyard Kipling's When the Englishman Begins to Hate, which is often called incorrectly When the Saxon Begins to Hate. That is very, very relevant. Nah, Reppy, what they're going to say to you now is, because your brain recognizes patterns like that, you're a lunatic, and we'll have to take you to the asylum and lock you up. That's probably going to be their logic. Well, that's the thing, JJ. People that are legal immigrants that have come here a while ago, who have worked hard, had to work for shit, and want to live up in bring their kids up or whatever in a decent country, they fucking hate illegals or like people that just come to commit crimes and do whatever more than anyone, because they've had to deal with the hard end of actually conforming to the laws and everything else. And again, I keep hearing from quite a lot of YouTubers that have like married, people from foreign countries, that they've had so many issues getting like a spouse visa or whatever it is for, like citizenship for their wives or husbands or whatever else, even though they're law-abiding, hard-working people. Yeah, if those same people came in on a dinghy, they could do whatever the fuck they wanted, go around committing crimes, and we'd have to pay for it. Yeah, call you racist and try and cancel you, like you're saying, or do, funny enough, again, what the East Germans did in the commies. Oh, you're against our ideology. That means you're mentally ill. Let's lock you up. Yeah, isn't there, JJ, loads of shit about British history in there that even people who live here wouldn't really know unless you're really, really into the history of it? Because again, like I said, it's just because there was like one YouTube channel that was explaining how much his wife's, when she came over here as a student, the like student visa cost, and like having to constantly tell the police and various agencies what her address was every couple of months, had to declare all her incomes for like extra tax stuff and all this. But oh wait, you come here illegally. Oh, did you see the video as well where at one of these hotels, where everybody's doing Uber Eats and just eat illegally, that works there without a driving license, whatever, because they're over here illegally. The police were ushering them in and out of the hotel when those riots, well, not even riots, protests were going on. And so yeah, arrest people for wrongthink, but facilitate these people tax avoiding and everything else. Again, like people said, Raymond, because some countries have the problem, like the UK has the problem, even if we talk about legal immigration. Again, I have nothing against people that want to come here legally and, be good citizens and work hard and whatever else, pay into the system. Part of the problem the UK has at the moment is there's not enough housing, full stop, not enough doctors. So we have the problem where really we'd be better off with a slightly smaller population than we have. But what we've really got a problem with, like saying, is What's the point in working and paying in taxes if you're at the back of the queue for everything and somebody that's literally a criminal is going to be given everything they want by the government? And then you've got, like I say, these disingenuous sort of whatever you want to call them, fucking lawyers that take the attitude that because you're a criminal and that, oh, I'll keep playing the thing, I'll keep doing the thing. You can't be deported because you like the chicken nuggets here. Remember that one? That was a real one. Oh, you can't be deported because you're a sex criminal. And if you were a sex criminal in your home country, they'd kill you over it. So that's all right, diddle the kids here. You know, all that fucking shit. I mean, how could you actually... I mean, I know it's down to money, but I think if you're a moral person, how could you be a lawyer if you knew that your person was guilty as sin, and then you were looking up for him? Oh, we could get you out on this technicality. Yeah, I believe you, Luminary. Like I said, weirdly, as much as when Trump came in again, I went from, oh, this is great, to thinking he fucked loads of stuff. I think I'm coming back round to him again a bit now, because at least I think he's finally, the pennies dropped on, like, yes, why Russia is an issue. Again, we're going off not really what the stream's about now, but yeah, Trump, we were trying to tell you that Putin will just play you along and keep saying, oh, no, I do really want peace. Whoops, I'm going to go bomb some more children. Yeah, again, JJ, I kind of know what you're getting at there, but like I was saying, but if the government will give these people lawyers, and again, like I was saying, that's what Keir's job used to be. He used to be a fucking lawyer like that, and then his mate Lord Harmer, that was the one that made us pay billions to give the Chagos away. Because again, that is an act of treason, in my opinion. Because the fact we got rid of British territory, that, yeah, think what you want about that, but we had to pay billions to get rid of it. So basically, I'm going to sell off a bit of the country or a bit of one of our foreign things, even though we need it for Diego Garcia or whatever it is, the big military base we share with America. I'm going to get rid of it, but the best bit is, when I sell this land off, we're the ones paying for the sale. And Mauritius doesn't even actually have a real claim to it, do they? This is, the weird thing. There isn't there, like, the Diego Garcians or what, the people of the Chagos Islands are the ones who really should have a say in it, but they've been pushed aside. Again, because Lord Hermer or whatever he's called went, look here, we can get a load... Oh, I better say allegedly over all this, because, fucking lawyers. But in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions, he got big kickbacks from this. So it's, we'll sell off this British territory, we'll get a shitload of money for fucking over the country, and that's all right. When it comes time for people getting angry and wanting to get us, we'll just flee to a foreign country with all our suitcases of money. So, yeah. Yeah, this is a surprisingly good streamed event. I think everyone is just fed up, aren't they? Let me, just to raise my blood pressure a bit more, let me go on to the Telegraph. And again, I know a lot of people don't like the Telegraph, call it the Tory graph, but like I said, they are quite good at declaring the latest stupid shit Labour's done. Completely unrelated to what we were on about, Birmingham airport shuts after plane makes emergency landing. Oh, something actually was just related to Trump doing something good. Hang on. Trump declares Russia extraordinary threat to US as he hits India with tariffs. And if you don't know why India is getting some of these tariffs, some of these aren't just him tariffing India because he feels like it. It's because India has been one of the main buyers of Russian oil, where it was sanctioned around most of the world. Because what India does is they buy it from the Russians at really cheap prices to then resell to other people as Indian oil. So yeah, I mean, I can understand financially why India are doing that. It's good for the Indian economy, but it is essentially blood money, because it's one of the few things that's still keeping some bits of the Russian economy afloat. But anyway, let me see if... let's have a look, though, at politics and see what else has fucking gone wrong in this country, eh? UK news. Starmer refuses to rule out tax rises over £50 billion black hole. Remember, like I said, that apparently there was this magic £22 billion black hole when Labour came in. All these election promises, we can't fulfil them now because we have all this debt that the Tories left us with, which some of it might have actually been true, but still. £22 billion black hole, £22 billion black hole. Whoops, now it's a £50 billion black hole. Oh, where did all that money you gave us go? Oh, well, time to waste more of your money. Oh, speaking of, have you seen the brilliant Coinbase advert about the UK, everybody? They banned it over here from television and whatever ads, but you can still find it online. The one where it's like the musical thing about people in the UK in like a Birmingham-style city where there's rubbish piled up everywhere. Loads and loads of people having to squat in houses because of the prices of housing, all of the food being unaffordable. No, this is like a musical video advert. Let me put it in the chat for everybody, and then you can enjoy it. I'd say watch it after this stream because obviously I'm talking at the moment, but everything is fine. Weirdly, I'm the only comment on there, but I reckon this is one of those weird videos where, because it's got 121k views and I'm the only comment, I reckon and nobody else can see my comments. I reckon other people are commenting and I can't see theirs. It's probably like some weird shadow banning thing in the comments on that video. Cheers, Gunners. Oh, this is dark comedy. But there you go. This should link to the Coinbase advert. Give that link to the Coinbase advert because again, it's a different URL than the one I thought I just linked to that, or is it linked to my own stream? Let me click the link and see where it takes me. If it doesn't break it. Yeah, it does link to it. It's just changed the URL. Everything is fine. It's not fine. The current favourite one out of the ones I own is probably my Avon C50, because I've now got that in my Riot Armour like bug out kit, you know, in a satchel on the Molly system with a filter on it and a spare filter in that bag, you know, and it works with a hydration system I've got on the Molly system on my like the Camelback as well. Out of the ones I've got in here, oh look, I've got the modern Russian filter on it that still looks like a GP5 filter. Weren't they just doing that though, JJ, just out of necessity that obviously they'd printed a lot before of MM14 before the war, but lots of countries have donated multicam for them. Everybody's going to multicam now. Belgian Jigsaw's being discontinued for multicam. Oh, those two have gone really tight for some stupid reason. Right, try that again. But yeah, this is a surprisingly nice mask. The Forshida F2A4. I wish I could find a military variant of this for the drinking tube, but I've never seen those for sale at all. But yeah, like I said, if you like the S10 and masks like that, you'll like this mask, because it's basically just, you know, Sweden's equivalent of an S10. Yeah, JJ, and then absolutely everybody in every war is going to have coloured armbands like it's a paintball game like you see in Ukraine, or have like special arm sleeves on the camo that destroy the point of it being camouflage because nobody can ID anybody via their camo patterns. Because yeah, everybody, again, I liked multicam when it was a thing and it was just a specific camo for kind of places, you know, where you had both greenery and, because again, the reason multicam and British like MTP were designed was in places like Afghanistan, you had desert and then you had oasis grass. So you needed something that would work in both without the camo suddenly going to shit the moment, you know, you go from the desert to some greenery. Yeah, that. And again, like I said, a lot of them might just be buying the Chinese, you know, like the Chinese airsoft stuff. You never know. Because again, if it's at this point, I doubt whoever first came out with multicam is getting the licensing fee for it anymore, because of, you know, how many people do almost multicams that aren't real multicams, and like the Chinese will make knockoffs and, you know, not care about copyright. So I'm kind of wondering now if a lot of countries are just going to buy the really cheap Chinese stuff. I don't mean the decent Chinese stuff, but the really cheap, you know, like you see with the Russians, where they've got these polyester uniforms where they burn alive when their uniform catches alight. Because, why would you want a fire retardant uniform? You know, well, just have some plastic melt over you as you burn up from a little spark hitting you. So, yeah. Cool. Yeah, speaking of the GP7 filters, I'll get it over something Hype sent me that's very cool and I've not used yet. Because, yeah, speaking of GP7 and like PMK style filters, I hadn't opened this yet, but I might as well open it. And then I might, if I've got enough room, also put this. Oh, the expiry date's October 32. I'll just be careful to reseal this one. Yeah, the modern Russian filter that uses the same design as the GP7 PMK filter, the triangular type, because it's technically the one that you're meant to use with this guy. Hang on a moment. Stick those back there. Oh, and I've got a different chair, because I did say to some people that my office chair, gamer chair thing started breaking a while ago. And then one day, even when this one was on order, I got fucking thrown off and hurt by the last one. Yeah, cheers, like, yeah, you've missed all of the people vastly complaining about the UK government. Yeah, I was at work Tuesday, because at the moment I'm doing Tuesdays until they can find somebody to permanently work Tuesdays where I work. Because we've had staff quit and all that sort of stuff, we've had the issues where lots of other members of staff are filling in extra days. So, you know, it's not one person getting fucked over that's in on certain days. But you're the right person to be on, because I was just about to open this to put on this guy. Because, yeah, cheers. Yeah, it's probably the wrong way round, isn't it, on there? But yeah, the not great, not terrible one. And again, funny, that was from China. I actually was, yeah, that was AliExpress for I think about £5 this shirt. And it was really good because it wasn't one I searched up. It was based on my interests, because weirdly, AliExpress, although now and again AliExpress does recommend me sex toys, it tends to be pretty good at mostly being militaria. Like, you know, where some sites do that thing where they will keep recommending you stuff that's of no interest to you. AliExpress, oh, that's got a cool thing in there. That's like a bandage material for the fit. That's quite cool. People on the video would see that very well, but yeah, that's like a bandagey type. All right, cool. Yeah, well, like I said, it doesn't really matter if it's a civilian or military one, does it? It's got the good rating, and like you said, it's designed to fit properly with that. That's why I just was doing it. So yeah, that should be airtight. Yeah, there we go. Weirdly, I'm getting more vibration from the voice diaphragm with this filter on than the last one. So that's kind of a weird thing. I don't know why. It's going to be to do with airflow, isn't it? If it's it's probably because more air is flowing through. Therefore, that vibrates a bit harder when I speak. But, yeah, that's what I was looking for. All right, thank you, Raymond. Yeah, that filter works absolutely fine. I'm going to block that back off, though, so it doesn't... Yeah, even without me putting that right under my nose, I've got a bit of that kicking up. if I remember right, this other bottle, even though this is meant to be a fairly strong one, is far less strong. Oh, these worn out a bit. I'm almost like, kind of like when you're expecting an electric shock, kind of pulling back at the moment I'm expecting to get hit by the vapor anyway. I reckon these are worn out a bit, this lot. Yeah, I reckon this is... Let me try giving this one a really good shake. I might even have some Mackenzie's smelling salts somewhere. What ones are these ones? Yep, there you go. But the ones I was showing you there are way, way stronger than the Mackenzie's ones because they're for heavy, like, weightlifting use, and that's why I've got them for the mask testing. But yeah, there we go. These actually have a bit of a nice menthol smell to them as well, though. Do not take orally. Good advice. Yeah, eucalyptus. So yeah, that's the eucalyptus bit that you can smell. That's the pleasant bit of that. All right, good. Brandon, I'm glad you enjoyed the videos, but yeah, I reckon these are worn out. Even though the lid's been on them, I reckon this lot have dried out. Because the ammonia salts are still visible in there. I wonder if I can just put some, like, water or alcohol in or something and it will... Yeah. But these are clearly dried out. Yeah, is it alcohol vapor they use in smelling salts? I know it's something that... Hype sent me this one, if you're on about this one. So Hype, who's right above you in the chat, he sent it me. So I assume because he's in China, he can import them from Russia easily, and then he sent it me. It's got the very long bit that says A1B1 E1K1 HGSXP3D. That is what it protects you from. Right, so just like I said, just so I don't let this wear out when it's not being used as easily. Although I hate the rubber stopper in the bottom of Soviet filters. That's one of the bits that can be a pain in the arse. This one wasn't as bad as some of them. I think because the metal is actually quite tough there. On some of the Soviet ones, when you try and push that back in, it starts caving the metal in at the bottom. But yeah, that will be worth just keeping around somewhere handy. I'll just put it there for now, just so like I said, I've got a GOST, like a very modern GOST filter. Well, the filter, this is, hang on. So the color markings are what the filter protects you from. Oh, here we go. Tambovmash.ru. That's obviously the company that makes the filter. If that focuses, which it probably won't. Yeah. Tambovmash. Literally tambovmash.ru. So that is the company that must make it, I would assume. And as they randomly just stick their name on. Oh, it is Tambovmash. Nothing to do with the filter. If you want, is like an advertisement on the filter. Would you like insurance? They could put insurance advert on the back of the filter. But yes, that did actually work at least properly, that one. You mean Tambov? Because the way you said Tampov, it looks like tampon. Tampon mash. Mash the tampon into the Mobix open wound for use of bandage. But yeah, made in Britain. That's why this no longer works. I want to actually see though if I nearly smashed my screen in there of that filter. I do want to see if there's a way you can get smelling salts working again. Like, I wonder if you can pour alcohol in or something. Yeah, when mixed with water. So yeah, in theory, if I pour some water in this after the stream, actually, just to see if this works. Ah, yeah, so it's just a military-industrial conglomerate then. I do want to be careful that I don't actually touch that to that. Right, there we go. Right, that's some water poured into that now. So let's put the lid on and give it a shake. I'm just seeing if these actually kind of come back to life, because you can still see the ammonia crystal-like salts in there. So I'd have thought that you could just rehydrate these, but I guess this one has... Because I know some of these say, you know, pressure can build up, so be careful when opening a lid, so maybe it's one that vents on its own. No, still nothing. I'll probably put quite a bit of water in there later and see if I get any love out of it, any reaction. But yeah, anyway, I'll be off fairly soon because I've been on an hour now, and I did say to somebody that as soon as I finish streaming tonight, I'd be up for playing a game with them. So I don't want to be a dick and be streaming for ages and then be like, oh, I'm tired, I don't want to play a game anymore. Let's have a look. Protivigog. And it's got like Zelensky dot sort of thing on it. Yeah, I don't know if I prefer this grey colour or the black, to be honest. I kind of like this grey colour. But like we were saying earlier, the cool one is like the one on the Forshida that I've got, where, like you sent me before, the one where you use the GP5 tooling for it, even though it's a modern non-asbestos filter. But yeah, the I do like this one just for the nostalgic sake. Yeah, it looks. If you took, especially if you took the label off, you'd think that was just a really cheap old Soviet filter on there. Yeah, at least when some people see it where the label's visible, they do know that, you know, it is the more modern one. But yeah, if you don't see it with a label, you just assume it's the standard one of these. Because dimensionally, actually, is that slightly bigger than your one? Is that the size of a PMG filter rather than the GP5 filter? It's hard to tell. It does look marginally taller. The size-wise, I still got the PMG filter handy anyway. That's a Romanian filter. But the PMG filters are like a double-sized GP5 filter, but I think a PMG one would be even bigger than that, so I don't know. EO18 filter. Yeah, you're right. It's an EO18K size, isn't it, rather than the EO62 or whatever, the GP5 style one. Yeah, like I said, without looking at both of them back to back, I think it looks in between the sizes, but typically, annoyingly, I don't know where my PMG filter is that's handy that I did have and showed in some other videos recently. Oh, wait, no, there it is. It's on the GP7. Funnily enough. Yeah, I reckon it's smaller than the EO18K. I reckon it's between the two sizes. Yeah, it's slightly smaller than an EO18K, although this is the the Hungarian version of it, but still. So yes, it's between the sizes of the three. It's bigger than the GP5, slightly smaller than the EO18K. So yeah, I guess it's just because where they've changed the tooling and it has paper in it now and a slightly different charcoal mix. It might also be so there's technically a way of identifying it when it's not labeled or anything and it looks a bit different. That would be my guess. Speaking of that, actually, if I take the filter off, I was just going to have a look at the very top bit of it and see if there was a difference in that regard. As in, yeah, that definitely is a GP5 one, as you can see. Yeah, circumference is identical. Top down, I think they look identical. The color of green is slightly different. But yeah, I think the difference is just height. Yeah, it's marginally taller than the GP5 filter, because where I put them on my desk, even when they're flat, I can see if I put something across them, it will actually be slightly canted like that. But yeah, so if you see that there, no, that's not in frame. But yeah, so it's weird. It's between the two sizes. So anyway, I will put this one back on this mask, even though this is a NATO mask, not a GOST mask. But weirdly, even though people probably complain about me saying this, like I've said before, GOST filters tend to seem to fit airtight on NATO masks, but obviously not the other way around. I think because GOST filters are slightly the thread pitch, you know, they'll screw in without sort of grinding into anything. And then for the most part, probably push tight to an O-ring or a washer and make them airtight. Where the problem is obviously with the NATO filters is that you run into the problem that they grind against the sort of threading, and then the air or gas or whatever gets through the gap between the threading and the thing, which is why some of the like weird, not very good plastic NATO filters seem to go airtight onto GOST masks, probably because the metal thread on the GOST mask shears them into the right shape and then they become airtight again. But you know, every time I do a video covering that, people tell me I'm giving out dangerous misinformation. So who knows? I don't know. I'm just a person. But yeah. So anyway, I will be off in a minute. So we're all right-wing terrorists, right-wing folks, right-wing terrorists, because we don't have total faith in our dear leader, Keir Starmer, to fix everything. And we have dangerous thoughts in our head. Yeah. If it wasn't a load of effort to take the face off the mannequin, not the face off the mannequin, the gas mask off that mannequin, because I have to basically take the mannequin down, you know, and the mask, I don't like taking it on and putting it on loads of times because it probably stretches the mask a bit doing that. I was quite tempted to get just a printout of Starmer's face and just kind of stick it to the mannequin. I wonder if you can get a fucking well, Saint, here's the thing. If I went to prison, I'd get my meals paid for me. You'd get your accommodation paid for you. But remember, they're dangerously short of prison places. He did Operation Arkham Asylum last year, where he let out violent criminals to make way for people that had said naughty words, like Lucy Colony. If you don't know about her, she's that woman that ill-advisedly and stupidly did a tweet or whatever, or a Facebook post, whatever it was, saying burn down the migrant hotels or something like that, she said. And as a result of saying that, they gave her something like 3.5 fucking years in prison, with very bad like rights, you know, where lots of very serious criminals have better rights than they're in prison. You know, and yeah, Starmer has been imprisoning people, you are right, that say hurty words. Like I said, I've not said any violent things or anything in that. I'm being very careful what I say when I say in my opinion, or I don't condone any violence. But yeah. But there are very limited amount of prison spaces. So, you know, unless he wants to let out more murderers and rapists to make way for people like me that say he's a bit of a prick, I don't really know how he's going to imprison everyone. Yeah, Turbo Tory with LGBTQ characteristics. Don't you dare mention how my back door was broken into by those rent boys. That was a Russian operation. Yeah, but building stuff requires effort, and this government can't do anything like that. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he goes, I've seen this great thing. It's called a gulag. I can put all the people I don't like in a gulag. Oh, wait, I've put nearly the entire country in it. But yeah, so yeah, Kia Stasi. There's, yeah, but like I said, I'm not worried in the sense that, like I said, because I'm not saying anything that's actually technically illegal. And the funny thing that's happening now, Happy Re-Education Camp, Keir Stalin hoodie. There's probably something that already exists like that. They call him Keir Stalin and not Stalin a lot on Talk TV, to be honest. Mike Graham likes calling him Keir Stalin. Or Keith Stalin. I think he randomly calls him Keith for some reason. But what was I going to say regarding that before I go off? I can't remember now. But yeah, I think he's probably more worried now that Comrade Corbyn is coming to. Has Corbyn even decided what he's calling his fucking party yet, other than probably Jezbollah or the Fruit and Nut Party? But yeah, Corbyn, like I said, the thing with Corbyn is, socialist-wise, I do really like a lot of his policies. The problem I've said a lot of the time I have with Corbyn is he's one of those very kumbaya, isn't everybody nice kind of people, where that's why he keeps getting all these gaffes where he's pictured with terrorists and stuff like that. Not because he goes along like, oh, meeting the IRA, isn't that brilliant? But he's one of those people that thinks, oh, if we get everybody around the table, nobody will ever have any wars again, and we don't need an army, and we don't need a nuclear deterrent and all this. So like I said, but Corbyn is at least a proper socialist, and I bet Keir Stalin is pretty worried about Corbyn. Oh, did you see that apparently one of the things, you know, Labour is on about now getting rid of allotments, so people's allotment land can be used for housing or whatever the fuck they want to do with it, I don't know. But apparently they did that specifically because they know Corbyn has an allotment and they're doing it out of spite because they're worried about losing votes to him. Yeah. Nasty Farage. Stop talking about Farage. Again, like I've said, I don't think reform has all the answers for the UK, and I imagine in a lot of ways there'll be fucking mega Tories, but I don't think they're as worse as this lot we've got. Because again, people voted for what was meant to be a Labour Socialist Party, and what we've got instead is basically the Tories, but with less economic competence and an even more hatred of the people that live in this country. So yeah. It's like the worst of both worlds. Oh, hello, I am Keith Stalin. Oh, well, you've got to love the black humour, I guess, of it. Calling it like the Happiness Institute. Great news, everybody. I have heard that a country called North Korea can actually give us financial grants because we are now poorer than the people in North Korea, and North Korea now exports sweets. So therefore, they are, because we have already got rid of all the farmers in our country, we are having to net import sweets from North Korea. I am just selling off all of our nuclear weapons to North Korea because I think that would be a very good trade deal. Although there is always that funny thing of that when Starmer meets people or tries to do some sort of agreement with them, it's like the kiss of death, and then something very bad, the curse of Starmer, happens to him. So, in 1984, though, Saint, unlike with the Online Safety Act, the proles were kept entertained with pornography. This guy doesn't like the idea of you looking at porn. So there's that. I think the proles were more free in 1984. Because in 1984, the proles are basically allowed to just drink. Because remember, not Corbyn, Starmer's getting rid of pubs as well. He wants to try and, destroy the business models of pubs that are already suffering. So, unlike the proles, you won't be allowed to have a drink, and you won't be allowed to look at porn. So, you'll be less free than the prole in 1984. And he'll probably have his 5-minute hate, and it will either be Corbyn or Farage up the screen. And the desire was thought crime, but not looking at the not just looking at the porn, because they had a bit of one of the agencies for making porn, didn't they, in the Outer Party, I think, or was it all made by computers or something? He'd also Orwell had also clued onto content being AI generated. I might see if I can get a fucking INSOC flag, though, to put behind me, because that would be very relevant for the things. Yeah, imagine a boot stamping on a human face forever. Yeah. Was that what Julia did in the book, Saint? I can't remember. I'll have to re-listen or read 1984. I've got the book somewhere, and I had an audiobook of it somewhere. Although I imagine 1984 will be banned by Labour soon for giving people ideas. I actually genuinely like the Oceana 'Tis for Thee from the film, because it does sound very much like an East German style communist anthem. Strong and peaceful, whatever the lyrics are. Fighting the fight for the whole world to save. Yeah, let's see if there's an INSOC flag I can get. eBay. Oh, I could get an INSOC badge. And an INSOC mug, but I've already got too many mugs. An INSOC t-shirt. Oh, there's... Oh, are they patches? Can you get fucking the Velcro patches for body armor? Oh yeah, they're made by Germans, because Germans are more free than us. Aufbauland, I guess that is color, because I can have Schwarz, Olive, Rot, or Grün. So black, olive, green, I imagine, rather than normal green, like a brown green. Rot is red, and Grün, green. And Klet, I don't know what it is. Ja 9. I don't know what that, yeah. I'll translate this page properly to see what that is. But yeah, I will buy the pin while I'm on this thing, because I can just put the pin on my shirt. I suppose, well, you're closer to Mexico, but I suppose the good thing is Canada is the second biggest country on Earth, so you've got a lot more places you could be in Canada that aren't kind of downwind of somewhere. Yeah, Big Brother. Big Kia. I want you to call me Big Kia. Don't call me Little Kia, even though I'm a little man. Speaking of Trump, though, even for the people that don't like Trump, I really fucking enjoyed that thing where Kia was that thing with Trump, and then Trump's like, I don't think your mayor's very nice. I think he's a dreadful mayor, or whatever he was saying. Kia's like, he's my friend. No, he's he's an awful mayor, very nasty little man. that was very. I did very much enjoy at Turnberry when Trump was just humiliating Keir, and Keir had to stand there. But yeah, that's another one of the horrible Labour lot, isn't it? Even though I said I was going, this is quite an interesting conversation. Sadiq Khan, who doesn't want to do anything to solve knife crime. Because have you seen that clip where somebody that's a reform representative or something discusses a way of actually bringing down knife crime? He's like, well, anything to do with reform I don't want to know about or whatever. Yeah, like I said, Sadiq Khan doesn't give a fuck. Sadiq Khan likes virtue signaling, but he doesn't want to do anything about the crime rates in London. Because there was a thing, wasn't there, where a Saudi student was stabbed to death in a mugging in London the other week, and the parents of the kid literally said that maybe people shouldn't go to England if it's such a crime-ridden shithole. He's not a real socialist though, Brandon, and at least wanting to redistribute the wealth evenly. He's a champagne socialist, Oh, we'll redistribute your money for us in the ways we want. Sadly, Keir's been slightly here over a year now. Again, there's bits of London I like and that, and a lot of people I chat with on here live in London. But yeah, I wouldn't want to live in London. But also, like I said, London's a big urban sprawl. I like quiet countryside places myself. Most of my mates that still can afford to move north because north's cheap. Moved up north to Leeds and places like that. Yeah, I need to go anyway. Like I said, I keep saying I'm going to go off, and then we kept talking about Keir Starling. Right, but I've got an INSOC badge coming, so I can wear my party badge. Took north, yeah. What is really annoying, I think, if I can find an INSOC one Saint, I will. I mean, I have a St. George's flag somewhere, but I haven't seen it in Yonks. I might get another St. George's flag just to piss him off. Yeah, I'll get another St. George's flag while I think of it on eBay. Hang on. St. George's flag. To make myself more of a far-right terrorist, going to have one of those English flags in the background. And I don't want one related to the football. I want just the proper flag of St. George. Right, how big of the background can you see behind me normally when I stream, just to work it out? That, if I get one that's like 4 foot by 3 foot or whatever they are, 5 foot by 3 foot, that will be a good size for it. Because that if I can actually get that up in the background, it's not going to be so big that you can't see what the flag is. But yeah. Right, let's get a flag of St. George to really piss off Keir. I think I saw the relevant helmet for that as well the other day down there when I was tidying some shit up. But if it's too buried, it's too buried. Or I might have been something. Oh no, there it is. Right. This will definitely need a clean out when I Oh, it's got the Geiger counter inside it, okay. But shall we rock the helmet, that and the flag, get proper on the right wing list then? Yeah, like I said, I need to give this a clean. Well, it's not too dirty inside there, but this is one of the. I'll give it a clean tomorrow. I'll hold my breath when I go on, just so I don't want all the dust to get down me. But yeah, there we go. Not covered my hair in dust, have I? Oh, I don't know if the GDR border guards are about and fit enough. I mean, I think Keir's more likely to employ the Stasi members and go, help me track down the people that say bad things about me and don't like the fact that their country is being fucking ruined and looted by us. Yeah, anyway, I do need to go now. So, yeah, I'll put this in the background with the flag when it comes. And then we'll see how triggered certain types of people get when the Saxon began to hate, or like I said, when the English began to hate. But, oh yeah, King Richard the Lionheart, Richard I was being censored with the Online Safety Act just as I go off. For some reason, they specifically, yeah, went after the Crusader King. I wonder why that was. Can't think of a reason. But, yeah, they did go after Richard I, the Lionheart. They went after him. But anyway, have a good day, everybody. Like I said, I'm going to be playing a game with somebody now because I did promise them I'd be on, and then I've gone over time. So, yeah. Yeah, cool. See you all. Goodbye.